So we'll start on the module, measures of dispersion, the normal distribution. Okay, so uh, later on, we'll be discussing or we'll be using different application or software that we use to compute problems involving area under the normal curve, and also uh, finding the probability using the normal distribution. Okay, and also standard normal distribution. So these are the following. Okay. Okay, so by the way, I'm also glad to announce to everyone that check first. Regarding the result of your exam, okay, so since we cannot meet face to face, I'm supposed to give you your test questionnaire. Okay, so and I'm also happy to announce to everyone and also to congratulate your one of your classmates here who got perfect in the exam. Can you give that a round of applause to Mr. So just to recognize you, uh, Mr. Angelo Raymond Robles. Is he here? So congratulations. You got perfect in your exam. So congrats. So hope you can do that again in the uh, midterm exams. Congratulations, Angelo Raymond. Okay. So your grade is already available sa Mastersoft. If you have some questions, so please find time to see me para ma-discuss ta. Thing to pay here. So just click algebra calculator or later on. So in our module, there is a link there to you if you want to use the normal distribution calculator. Okay. So as we go along, we'll discuss this one. Okay, now, so talking about normal distribution. So these are the example. So just one moment. Okay. So here in your module, you have their situation where there are three groups of class here. So group one, so we have here group two and group three with the following result. So hopefully we can work this by group so that we can discuss. But since we are on this nature, so we're online, so we cannot. So what we're going to do is to discuss and differentiate what is about all of this data here. Now, so for group one here, so we have here the following scores of a 15-item quiz. Also, group 2, the same scores, and group 3. So these are the scores. So all we have to do is to compare this data, okay, with the following questions below. So what is the lowest score? How many students got the lowest score? And what is the highest score? How many students got the highest score? And the following. So using the data, so what I did here was first you need to uh, transfer this into an Excel so that it would be easy for you to discuss. So I want to show you this one. Okay. So I'll present my screen so that from time to time. Okay, here. So let me know if my screen is visible. Okay, thank you. Now, so this is the data from our NEU here. Okay, here. So I just transfer this one for us for easy to determine and to differentiate. Now, talking about this data. So as you look at the data, so the data is already arranged from the highest to the lowest. Okay. Now, so group one, we have their 34 datas or students, group 2, 32, and group 3, 34. So with the following score. So since the data are already arranged, so we can easily determine the number or the lowest score between the groups. So if you try to look at this one, the lowest score between group 1, group 2, group 3 is 1. But the difference is that in group 1, there are only 2 students who got the lowest score, while group 2, okay, we have 9 students who got the lowest score. In group 3, only 1 student got the lowest score. So that is the difference. And for the highest score, all of this group got 15 as the highest score, but in group 1, 2 got the highest score in group 2, 1, and group 3. So we have here 7. 7 students got the highest score. Now, if you try to compare, so they have the same both highest and both lowest. So later on, we'll just try to describe which of this data can we say that is normally distributed. Now, for this between this group, so for group 3 has the most number of students who got the highest score. Okay, and of course, for each group, the most frequent data that appears, let's say in group 1, so the most frequent data is 8. In group 2, the most frequent data is 1. And group 3, the most frequent data is 15. So what I did here, so simply just compute for the mode of each group here. So group 1 has the mode of 8, mean of 8, median of 8. In group 2, with mean or mode of 1, mean of 4.94, median of 4. And for group 3, mode is 15, mean is 10.59, and median is 12. So these are the measures of central tendency with this group of data sets here. Now, so I guess I have shown you the mean score, the median score. So what can you say about the measures of central tendency given this data here? Okay. What can you say about these measures of central tendency? Anyone? So group 1, group 2, group 3. Anyone to say something about the how would you say regarding these measures of central tendency given the mean, the median, the mode? Okay, another question here. Okay, how many students got score lower than the mean, the median, and the mode? Okay, so if we try to highlight this one, or let's have this one. So somewhere here, let's say the mean, the median, and the mode is here. Okay, while the other one, the mean is between somewhere here. Okay, 9.94. Okay, somewhere here. Okay, highlight ko lang somewhere here. And for group 3, mean is 10.59. So somewhere here. Okay, let's have it somewhere here. So this is not fixed, but just to show you the approximate location of the mean and the median and the mode, so that we can answer number 7 here. So based on this data, you can count the number of students who got score below the mean, the median, and the mode. Okay. And also, let's say for group 1, if you try to look at the position there. So for group 1, so we can say that the mean and the mode, or mean, median, the mode are the same. Okay. For group 2, we can compare that the mean is greater than the median, at the same time is greater than the mode. So we can say that by position, the mean is a little higher than the median. Okay, and for group 3, the mean or the mode is higher or greater than the median, at the same time and the mode. Okay, now, so if we try to draw a curve, so we can say that in group 1, so the curve, since the mean and the median and the mode are equal, so we can describe how it is shown later on. So in the next here, so we have here. Okay, let me have this next module here. Let's go back to the questions afterwards. So we'll first discuss the following. Okay. Just one moment. Okay. Okay, is my screen visible? Yes. Okay, now, talking about the normal distribution. So when we say normal distribution, is by definition a continuous random variable x is said to be normally distributed if its density function is given by f of x is equals to this equation here, 1 over standard deviation times square root of 2 pi times e raised to negative 1/2 times the quantity x minus mean over standard deviation quantity squared. Okay, where values of x is between negative infinity to positive infinity, and for constant mean and standard deviation, okay, where mean is also between positive and negative infinity, and standard deviation must be greater than 0. And for normal value x 2.718, with a we know what is the value of pi here. Okay, so based on the equation, let's do not focus on the equation how it is given. Okay, let's focus on how it is used, on how it is being applied to some problems here. Okay, now, so this is just a notation for normal distribution. So actually, this is the equation of the graph when we say normal curve. Okay, so this is, if you try to substitute any value, you trace the graph using this formula, it will give you a normal curve. Okay, now, so this normal distribution depends on two parameters: the population mean and the population variance. Last time we compute of the sample mean and sample standard deviation. But for normal distribution, this refers or depends on this population mean and population variance. Okay? Now, so this, it is often referred to a Gaussian distribution in honor of Carl Friedrich Gauss. Okay, so normal distribution denoted by this notation here, n, open parenthesis, x, semicolon, your mean and your variance. Take note, variance, sigma squared is variance, or we can have it n quantity, open parenthesis, mean and variance. So this is normal distribution. So this is the notation. When you say this notation, that's understood to be a normally distributed. If you encounter some problem with this notation, then you can say that that situation or is understandable to be normally distributed. Okay, so this is the graph of a normal distribution. We call this a normal curve. Okay, for normal curve, we have the following characteristics. Take note of this. So the shape of the curve is called the bell shape. Okay, normal distribution are symmetric around the mean, meaning for that curve, there's an imaginary line that we can say divides the curve into two, and that line represents your mean. That's why symmetric about the mean. Okay, the mean and the mode or mean, median, or mode of a normal distribution are equal. Okay, normal distribution are denser in the center and less dense in the tail. So as you see, the graph looks like a bell shape. So most likely, the distribution of the data falls closer to the mean. That's why denser at the center and less at the in the tail. So few datas along the side, no? Falls on the tails. No? The total area of the normal curve is equals to 1 or 100%. Okay, so take note of these properties. Let's go back to this one. Okay, now, based on the property of the normal curve, which of this data is considered as a normally distributed? Anyone? Group 1, 2, or 3? Yes? Mm-hmm. Okay, so right now, 40 or 39. So, any comment? Which of the data can you consider as a normally distributed? So based on the property says that, okay, these are the properties of the normal distributed. Anyone? You can type your message in the chat box, okay? And we'll go back to that later. Okay, so thank you, Regine. So group 1, okay, so that's correct. So when we say, again, when we say normally distributed, so the mean, the median, and the mode is or are equal. Now, the other two datas here, so if you try to draw a graph, so the mean, so for group 2, the mean is greater than the median, and the median is greater than the mode. So most likely, the graph of this data in group 2 appears to be negatively skewed. So because the mean, the median, and the mode is the mean is greater than the median and the mode. However, for group number or group 3, we can say that this is, since the mean, the median, or the mean is less than the median and the mode, so group 3 is most likely negatively skewed. Oh yes, negatively skewed. So if you try to draw a graph, so most likely ang iyang curve is going to the right or to the left. Hindi siya sa center. Okay? So that is how it is illustrated. Now, let's go back to this one. So we have what do you call areas, approximation of the areas under the Romer curve. So as in mentioned, the properties. So the area comprises, the total area of the bell shape is 1 or 100%. So this area actually is divided into this one. We call this as the empirical rule. So for empirical rule, we can say that the media or the mean, okay, so since the normal curve is symmetric around the mean, so to the left or to the right, so as you see, between one standard deviation or mean plus one standard deviation and mean minus one standard deviation, this region, we call this as one standard deviation, is approximately, take note, approximately 68% of the area. Okay. And for two standard deviation of the mean, so from the left to the right, you can see the 95% of the area of this curve. So approximately 95%. And for three standard deviation of the mean, that is approximately 99.7%. So of the data falls within 3 standard deviation of the mean. So this is very important, especially when you're solving problem solving or problems involving normal distribution. So when your data or in the values there falls between this value within 1, 2, 3 or standard deviation of the mean, then you can approximate its probabilities. So that is without using calculator, without using table later on. So once the data, you know that the data falls between this, either 1 standard deviation of the mean or 2 standard deviation of the mean, so you can approximately determine the probabilities, which is 68%, 95, or 99.7%. Okay, questions so far before we proceed? Okay, clarification. If okay, I were still with me. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's continue. Okay, now, so here, so talking about 1 standard deviation of the mean, so approximately, take note, approximately, so the area of the normal distribution within 1 standard deviation from the mean is approximately 68%. Okay, you have there. And approximately 95% of the area of its distribution or a normal distribution within 2 standard deviation of the mean. So that is and approximately 99.7% of the area of the normal distribution is between or within 3 standard deviation of the mean. So we call this as the empirical rule. Okay, now let's continue. So here are some example problems involving areas under the normal distribution. Again, so if you're using your iPad or laptop, please download GeoGebra. And later on, do we have also the normal distribution calculator? Okay, we have here. Let me check this one. Okay. So if you try to look at the modules here, so you have below, we have this link. Okay, here is the link. You can open this link. So that is normal, or so this is the link to install or to open the normal distribution calculator. You can double click this one. Okay, and then it will lead you to this portal. Okay, now let's try to use this later on. And at the same time, I'm also using a GeoGebra. I believe most of you have already idea on how to use this application. So we'll make use of this application at the same time, the other one, the online calculator. Okay, let's now proceed to this example. Okay. So this example, so draw a curve that denoted by this notation, okay, n of 90 and 25. So based on this, your mean is 90 and your standard deviation, or I mean your variance is 25. So if the variance is 25, you can easily get the standard deviation, which is simply the square root of the variance. Okay, for square root of variance is, okay, the standard deviation, so square root of 25 is 5. So 5 would be our standard deviation. Okay, now, so as you see, the curve here, so let's say we have this. Mean is 90. Okay, look at this one. So mean is in the middle. So since your standard deviation is 5, to the right of 90 plus 5 gives you 95. Then plus 5 gives you 100. So this is one standard deviation. So sa right is 95, sa left is 85. So this means that mean minus standard deviation, the other one mean plus standard deviation. For 80, mean minus 2 standard deviation, and for 100, mean plus 2 standard deviation. So this is the graph that illustrates with this notation the mean with 90 and a standard deviation of 5 or a variance of 25. Okay, now, say for example, we have this example here. Most tests that gauge one's intelligence quotient or IQ are designed to have a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. It is also known that IQs are normally distributed. Draw the curve that would represent the distribution for IQ. Okay, so take note, the mean is 100 and a standard deviation of 15. Okay, now, all you have to do, draw the curve and level the mean as with 900 or 100, and then add, since 15 is the standard deviation, you plus 15 to the right, plus minus 15 to the left, and then level it for that 100, 15, and 30. So 1 and 2 standard deviation to the right of the mean, and 15 and 70, that is minus 2 standard deviation from the mean. So that is how this graph is distributed. Okay? So let's try to use the following example. Okay. Most tests, or the amount spent for lunch by a student or by the students is assumed to be normally distributed with a mean of 90 and a standard deviation of 5. Draw the curve that will represent the distribution. Okay, let's draw this later on. Now, okay, if MM is one of the students, find the probability that her lunch cost, letter A, less than 90. Okay. Letter B, less than 95. Letter D or letter C, more than 95. Letter D, less than 80. And letter E, between 80 and 90 pesos. And F, less than 93 pesos. So how are we going to use this or to answer? So let's make use of GeoGebra, and also we will compare the result using your online or normal distribution calculator. Okay, take note. So if you have your GeoGebra, please bear with me. Okay. So all you have to do, open your GeoGebra. So beside here, so you can check graphing, 3D calculator, geometry, and also probability. So click on probability. Okay. Then, all we have to do, you can select for the intervals. Take note of the parameters. So in our example, here, mean is 90 and a standard deviation of 5. So plug in the parameters. So 90 and standard deviation of 5. Okay, so you have, that is now your normal curve. Okay, now, okay, are you with me? Just say yes. Okay, thank you. Now, so once you plug in the parameters, the first problem here that we have is less than 90 pesos. So for less than 90 pesos, all you have to do is find or use the interval below to the left. Okay, Aricia is interval. Aricia is two-tailed, and the other one to the right. Okay, so if we try to click on this one, so meaning your probability that her lunch is less than, okay, less than 90 for letter A. Check again. Letter A, less than 90. Okay, so plug in 90. Okay, now, so as you see, the shaded region. So in the middle is 90, and the shaded region to the left of 90, that comprises the probability that MM's lunch cost less than 90 pesos. So in other words, so the probability there, so calculate will give you the area of 0.5. So meaning the probability that her lunch cost less than 90 is 0.5, or we can say 50%. Okay, now let's try to use your normal distribution calculator. Okay, just plug in 90 standard deviation of 5. Okay, then less than. Okay, here. So less than 90. Okay, so then calculate. So this is the result. So as you see here, the result is 0.5. So it's good if you are using normal distribution calculator because it will also show you the step on how it is being solved. So this formula later on that this application use, we call this as the standard normal distribution, the standard normal. Okay, so questions so far. So the probability that the runs cost less than 90 is 0.5 or 50%. Okay, and here this is the illustration. Okay, so this is the illustration using GeoGebra or using normal distribution calculator. Okay, for letter B, so the probability that her lunch cost 90 or less than 95. Okay, if we try to use the GeoGebra here, less than 95. Okay, so the answer is 0.8413. 0.8413. Again, approximately the area is 0.8413. Now, if we try to analyze mm's lance is less than 95, so we know that on the first example, her lance is 50 or less than 90, that comprises 50% of the area. Okay, and between 95 to 85, which is one standard deviation of the mean, so the area is approximately 68%. So that's why if you try to find the area between 90 to 95, that is actually one half the area within which falls within one standard deviation of the mean, which is 0.34, because the area between one standard deviation of the mean is 68%, approximately 68%. So that's why that portion from 90 to 95 is 34 or approximately 34% or 0.34. So thus we can say that the area or the probability that her runs cost less than 95 is approximately 84%. Approximately 84%. If we use your software or GeoGebra here, will give you the same. Approximately 84 or 0.13%, which is close. So this is using your GeoGebra. And the other one here, since it falls between the one standard deviation of the mean, still we can approximately say that her runs cost less than 95 pesos is or has the probability of 84%. Do you follow? Okay, thank you. So for her lunch cost more than, okay, more than 95%. So going back to the previous example, less than 95% is approximately 0.84. And for more than 95%, so that represents to the unshaded area of the above example here. So 0.84 is to the left of 95, and to the right of 95, that represents the region or the area that her lands cost more than 95%. And we know that the total area is 1. So all we have to do is 1 minus 0.84, which gives you approximately 0.16, or approximately the probability that her lands cost more than 95% is approximately 16%. So if we try to compare using GeoGebra here, so just change your interval, so right-sided, and type more than 95. Okay, as you see, x is greater than 95. Okay, x is greater than, so we'll give you 0.1686 or 1586, which is round off to 16%. So using your empirical rule, okay, we can say that approximately 16% of the area, or that is the probability that MM's lands cost less or greater than or more than 95 pesos. Okay? Question so far? Okay, another one. So for the probability that her lands cost less than 80 pesos. Okay, so if you try to plot, so 80 falls, take note, 80 falls between two standard deviation of the mean, which is approximately 95% of the curve. Okay, so to the right of 80, that represents the area that her lands cost less than 80%, which is approximately, so we know, take note, we know that the area between 80 to 100 is 95%. So meaning the remaining area, which is 5%, okay, so to the right of 100 and to the left of 25, that represents the area, or that area the remaining area is approximately 5%. So that's, if you divide it by 2, so will give you approximately 0.02. The area is approximately 0.02. Okay, so let's try to plot this using our GeoGebra. So the area, or between, okay, that was between 80 and 90. Oh, sorry. Cost less than 80. Okay. Change your interval. So change this one to less than 80. Okay, so we'll give you the shaded region to the left of 80, which approximately equals to 0.02275. So since it falls between the two standard deviation of the mean, then we can say that that area, okay, is 0.02%, approximately 2%. So you can round it up to approximately 2.28%, just like that. But since you are using empirical rule, then 2% would be considerable enough. Okay, so this area is approximately 2%. So to the left of 80. And for the probability that her lands cost between 80 and 90, so if you try to plot that one between 80 and 90, that is actually half of two standard deviation from the mean. So 80 and 100, that falls between two standard deviation of the mean. Thus, we can say the regions between, or that was 80 to 90, that is half of that rule, which is half of the 95%, which is approximately 47 or 0.475. Okay, so if you try to plot this one and comparing the result using your GeoGebra here, okay, between 80, okay, 80 and 90. Okay, as you see, so approximately 4.47249. That is the approximation of the area. Using your empirical rule, we can still say that this area is approximately 47.5%. Okay, so that is how we use this empirical rule, and the other one is using your GeoGebra, and the other one using your normal distribution calculator and solving problems involving areas under the normal curve. Okay, any question? Clarification? Okay, how about others? Wala na? Okay, so take note, the first 5 example that falls between your empirical rule. That's why we can solve it using your empirical rule, but then I tried to compare that using your GeoGebra, and the other one is the normal distribution calculator. Now, what if the probability that your lands cost less than 93? So take note, 93 does not fall between your empirical rule na. So you cannot approximate the area, but instead, we can make use to compute using your standard normal distribution. Okay? From this data, standard normal distribution or normal distribution using your empirical rule, if the data does not fall between this empirical rule, we can transform this into the standard normal distribution, and that is on the next presentation here. Okay, so this is the standard normal distribution. Commonly, we call this before, way back in your junior high school, senior high school, as the Z-score. We call this as the Z-score. Okay, so this is the formula for standard normal distribution or standard normal variable or random variable to the following transformation, with the C equals to X minus the mean over standard deviation. Okay, so we can use this if your let's say your problem falls to the left or to the right. But if or whenever X is between the values, not whenever X falls between two values, so we can make use of this Z-score, or we have Z sub 1 is equals to X sub 1 minus mean over standard deviation, and Z sub 2, X sub 2 minus mean over standard deviation, and then calculate the values. So this is only if your variable falls between two x's. Okay, now this one. Okay, say for example we have this. Given the distribution or notation of n of the mean of 100 and the standard or a variance of 10, so to solve for Z sub 70, okay, using the formula, all you have to do is what you call one is to use the formula. Z is equals to mean or X minus mean over standard deviation. Okay, substitute. C sub 20 is 70, where is your X? That's your X minus 100 over 10, and that is equals to -3. For Z sub 100, that is 0. That represents your mean. Okay. And Z sub 80, that is -2, z sub 110 is +1, z sub 90 is -1, and z sub 120 is +2. If you try to look at the graph below, this data is translated, or that normal curve translated into the standard normal distribution. So instead of writing the mean and the one standard deviation, we make use of z-score values there. Okay, so that is the standard normal distribution. So in computing the areas under this standard normal distribution, we have what we call the z-values. Okay, later on, I'll be showing to you different tables. So actually, it is here. No? Okay, so this is the table for z-score. So once you have translated the random variable into a z-score, then you can find the area. Okay, let's say z is equal to 0. If you see there, z is equal to 0, or the mean. So that means the area is 0.5. In other words, to the left of that z equals to 0 is 0.5. To the right of that z equals 0 is also 0.5. Okay, and for example, z equals to 1.1 or 1.25. So all you have to do, locate column z, which is 1. Okay, 1.2. And then from 1.2, go to column 0.05. So row 1.2, column 0.05, that is equals to 1.25. And locate the intersection, which is 8 or 0.8944. Okay, so that is the area when z is less than 1.25. Okay, so if greater than, let's say z is greater than 1.25, all you have to do is reverse. So instead of 0.8944, all you have to do is 1 minus 0.8944. That is now your z greater than 0.25. Okay, for z less than 0.196, so you can locate 1.9, then column 0.06, intersection is 0.975. Okay, so this area is 0.975. Okay, let's try to compare this one if we use this GeoGebra. Okay, so let's say mean is 0. Okay, then parameter standard deviation is 1. I don't know if it will work. Let's try. No? So less than 1.25. Okay. So as you see, 1.25 in your table, 1.25 is 0.8944. In your GeoGebra, 89435. The round of it to these 4 decimal places will give you 0.8944 also. So here, if you want to use z-score, just plug in parameters as 0 for mean, 1 for standard deviation. Okay, so that would be easy for you to convert. Whereas, if we are using the standard normal, here again, so what is good about this calculator or application here, after plugging in the values, this will give you the steps. Okay, step 1, sketch the curve, the probability that x is less than 90. So you have there this blue shaded region. And for step 2, converting this. So mean is equals to 90, standard deviation of 5. So you have here the formula. Okay, z minus mean or x minus the mean over the standard deviation that is equals to c, which is equals to 90 over 90 all over 5 will give you 0. So that's why to the left, less than 0. Okay, what if? Okay, let's try to make use of this one. Okay, what if we have this one? Between, okay, let's say x is 90 between, let's say here, the one 80 to 90. The one kay na, between 80 to 90. Okay, then calculate. Okay, so the area a while ago that I presented is approximately 47% using the empirical rule. So this is how it is explained. So using point 80 less than z less than 90. So converting this into a z-score or standard normal distribution. So you have here z sub 1, you have there, okay, siya. Let 80 be your x sub 1 and 90 be your x sub 2. So computing this one, so between the value -2 and 0. So that comprises 0.47.72%, which is similar, approximately the same as using your empirical rule. So this is what is good about using this normal distribution. Kaya may ara isa yung solution. Okay? Question so far? Clarification? Okay, how about others? Again, we're using this table. There's another table below on next year, which is actually different. So if you try to look at this one, your z equals to 0, 0, the area is 0.5. So there is another table with this one, where area z is 0, 0, but the area is also 0. So again, let's compare this one. This is called a half table, because we know that for normal distribution, this is symmetric about the mean. So the area, the total area is 100% or 1. So this area using this table, this is just half. So meaning this comprises 50%, approximately half of your distribution. That's why when the area is 0.00 here, or z is 0, 0, the area is 0, 0. The previous example that we have is 1.25. So for 1.25, if you try to locate this one, okay, here, 1.25, z is equals to 1.2 column 0.05. The area here is 0.3944. Kaina sa Piakya, 0.8944. If you try to get the difference, actually is 0.5. So all you have to do, if you are using this type of table, all you have to do when you are computing the values of z or probability, all you have to do is add 0.5. So this will give you 0.8944 para magpareho na siya sa isa ka table. Take note, duwa ka table, may ara nga 0, 0, the other one is 0.5 as the starting value. Okay, so if you're using this type or this kind of table, all you have to do plus 0.5. Okay, there are cases that you need to add 0.5 or not, especially if your graph passes to the left or to the right of the mean. Okay, so here we have your example. Okay, this one. Okay, so finding probabilities using the normal table. So for example, let x be normally distributed with a mean of 5 and a standard deviation of 10. So determine the probability that x is less than 6.2. So computing this using the standard normal distribution, so you have the value of z, which is 0.12. Okay, take note, less than, meaning to the left of 0.12. Okay, let me have this one. So standard, mean of 5 and standard deviation of 10. Let's try this one. Mean of 5, standard deviation of 10. Okay. Now, for less than, okay, the given value there is less than 6.2. Let's try to compute this one. So do you have idea here? Less than 6.2. Okay. So here, the area between 6 or less than points or less than 6.2. Okay. So the area here is 0.5478. So let's try compare 0.5477, or approximately, or rounded up to 0.5478. Okay, here using the table, so all you have to do is locate z, which is 0.01, because the value of z here is 0.12. So 0.1 in column 0.02, so will give you 0.5478. So this area is 0.5478. So that is the probability that x is less than 6.2. So using the table. Okay. Another example is between two values here, 2.9 and 7.1. Okay, take note. Find the value. So the area here for x is equals to 2.9. The z-score is 2.1, negative 2.1. For x is equals to 7.1, the area is 0.21. So in other words, the region that you are looking to solve or to determine is between negative 0.21 and positive 0.21. Okay, so that is how it is computed. So using the standard normal distribution you have here compared to the standard normal curve. Okay, so if we try to compare, first is let's plug in a mean is 2. We have here. Mean is 5. Say plug in siya, no? Mean is 5. Standard deviation of 10. Okay. Between 2.9 and 7.1. Let's try to compare this one. Between 2.9 and 7.1. Okay, then we have here 7.1. Okay, so the answer here is approximately, okay, so the process here is getting the values between 2.21 and positive 0.21. Okay, so to the left of 221, that area approximately equals 0.21. The area is approximately, 0.12. Okay, 4.5832. Okay, and the area to the left of negative 0.21 is 0.4168. So all you have to do, the bigger area minus the smaller area will give you 0.06 or 1664. Okay, so in other words, this is the area. But here in our computation, tagaan niya lang kadiritso sa 0.16633. Okay? So let's try to compare. So they are the same, no? Pareho lang sila ang result. Now, how about if you are using standard normal calculator? Okay, let's try this one. So mean is, okay, mean is 5, standard deviation of 10. Okay, between, okay, 2.1 and 7.1. Let me check. Between 2.1 or 2.9 and 7.1. 2.9. Okay. Then calculate what will happen. Okay. So here we'll give you, okay, check on I. Yes. Okay. Here we'll give you the steps. Okay, the area is 0.1664. Okay, so all you have to do, so this is how it is translated to standard normal distribution, solving for the value of negative 0.21 and positive 0.21. Okay, so if you try to click on this one, so let me try to click this one. Z-score calculator. Okay. So, the same, no? Okay. The same. So, this is already the Z-score calculator. So, wala siyang table nga naging, ano. But, okay, so this is how to use the standard normal table. But here, gingamit ta is using your calculator. But here, if we try to compare how it is solved using the table, will give you the same result. Okay, which is 0.1664. Okay, question so far? Clarification? Violent reaction, if any? Okay? Clarification or any question? Okay, how about others? Okay, I guess there is none. Thank you. Now, going back to the previous example, okay, to the previous example here, what is the probability that her cost or her lands cost less than 93? Okay, so of course, we have to convert this into z-score. So your x is 93. So 93 minus your mean, which is 90 over 5, will give you, ilan na siya? Okay. Then once you have computed, find using your table. So 93 or 93 minus 90 over 5 will give you 0.6. So P of less than 0.6 will have this area, which is 0.7257. I guess if we use the other table, which is the half table that I showed you a while ago, the area there is 0.2257. So all you have to do, you add 0.5 since, okay, since the shaded region is or passes through the mean. So naglapaw siya sa mean, so meaning you have to add for another 0.5 if you are using the other table. And using our GeoGebra here, let's go back with a parameter 90 and 5. Okay, and with a mean less than, or x less than 93, So we'll give you approximately 7 to 0.7257, which gives you the same as this one. Okay? Any question? Okay, how about others? Okay. Okay, I guess wala. Okay, let's try what would be the next year. Okay. So again, there is the link here using your portal. Okay, and the other one, okay, how to install. Okay, this is the instruction on how to use this online calculator. So we did discuss that a while ago on how to use this online normal distribution calculator. And of course, the next year is already your activity. Unless you have some question before, let's call this a day. Clarify it away so that you can, fresh pa ang atong naging discuss. No? For our activity, so let me have this one. Okay, so this is about normal distribution. This is maximum score of 20 items. Okay, all you have to do, make use of GeoGebra or online the online distribution calculator. Pwede nyo siya magamit. No? Okay, so okay. Now, let's discuss the deadline of this. Today is, okay, saan ang deadline ta? Okay lang if on Sunday, at least you have the weekend to work on that. Any clarification? Okay lang sa inyo, Sunday ang deadline sa atong activity? Any comment? Any suggestion? Yes. So, any suggestion of the date of the deadline of our activity? So, anyway, our next class will be on Friday, no? So, we can extend that up to 24, okay lang? Okay. So, gahulat lang ka mo nga i-extend ko gali before ka mo mag-live. Okay, so that's it. Na? So, deadline would be on September 24. That will be on Wednesday. Okay, now, just a reminder, okay, I'd like to show you this one. Okay, i-give ko na siya ha. So, let me know if this already appears. Okay, na siya, na? So, going back sa previous activity that we had, okay, so for measures of variation, so I have noticed here daw may ara pa nga wala nakasubmit. Okay, so as you see on my screen, may ara pa sang apat nga wala ka-submit. Okay, please, this is still open.